Void data type. What is a void data type? A void data type means no type, no value, or no parameters, depending on the context we use it to indicate. Now, we use this void data type to indicate that a function does not return a value, a function does not accept any parameters, and a pointer does not have a specific type and could point to a different types. Now let's run into our code editor and let's see how this is being done practically. Okay, so in this video we are going to be working with void. As I said, void means no data, no value, no return type. Now with an example, I'm going to show you on how to use a void data type. Now I'm going to use something we call a function. Now this function, what it means is that is a group of code that does a particular thing. Now this group of code doesn't do any other thing than what it was specified for it to do. Okay, what you specify for that function to do. Okay, that function will not do otherwise. For a clear example, when declaring a function, we will tell it what to do inside of the function. Okay, now for us to declare a function, we have to go at the top of the main or at the bottom of the main. Okay, either way. But if you go to the bottom, just know that you have to provide a prototype of the function up here so that the C can actually see, okay, knows what you included inside. For your function to run, the function name must be declared inside of this main. Now let us go up here and declare our function, and then our function is going to have no return type. So if our function is going to have no return type, that means it's going to start with a void. But if it were to have a return type, is either starting with an int or a char or whatever data type you are trying to return. I will still explain what return type is, but let us first of all create a function with a void data type. Now this function, what it does is it adds addition. It doesn't do any other thing but to add values. Now I will also make the parameter to be void. Okay, so it doesn't accept any parameter. Then inside of this function is where I will write my code or codes. Now remember what we are trying to do. We are trying to add two numbers together, so I do printf. Then adding two numbers, I want to add two integers together, so I do 2 plus 2. Okay, now if we run this code, let's save and run this code. GCC, where are you? Okay, GCC main dot c, then void dot exe. Then our code is free from error. Then we now come and reference the extension. Let's run. You can see there's nothing printed on the screen. Why? Because we haven't actually made use of this our function. We have declared our function. This is how to declare a function. Now this is what we call the function name. this is the data type, and this is the function name. What anything that is inside of this is called a parameter, but right now we are using void, which means there is no parameter and there is no return type. That is why we are also using it here. Now here is the block of codes. Now this function does only one thing. It just prints out the addition of two numbers. It doesn't multiply, it doesn't subtract, it doesn't divide, just addition of two numbers. Now for us to see the output of this function, remember, see, we put here printf, so it's supposed to print on the screen, right? But no, it will not print on the screen until we include the function name, this name here, until we insert it here. That is when it will run. Remember my first video when I was introducing the main method, which is the basic structure of a C program. I said that this is an entry point to every or to any C program. Okay, so if your program is not inside, or if your function is not inside of this main, then forget it, it's not going to run. So let us put our function inside of this main. How are we going to do that? We do that by calling the name. What am I even typing, self? By calling this name. You call this name. When you call this name, this function runs. So let's call the name. We call the name addition. Then we put this brackets, two brackets. Now anything that has double brackets, open and closing, is called a function, is a function. Anything that has, in your line of coding, okay, any programming language that you are coding with, and you see something that has these two brackets, just know that that thing is a function. Now we have called our function and we have called it. That means it's going to run. This, what we wrote inside of this, is going to run. Why? Because we have called it. Assuming we haven't called it, which we did before, it is not going to run. So let's save this our code, then let's recompile it. No error. So let's run the program. You can see 2 plus 2 is 4. You can see 4 here. When we did not call it up, it returned empty. Okay, there was nothing here. But when we now called our function, it displayed 4. Let's go to our code. This our code here doesn't return anything. Okay, I'm just trying to explain what void is. It only prints out to the screen without returning anything to the function. Now in the case of returning, let's create another function. Okay, let's create another function. Let's call this, let's return two numbers, addition 1. Let's rename. You can't have two functions bearing the same name. No. Let's continue. Me, I don't want to name the same name I named this. Okay, let me just rename this so that you guys will know what I'm actually doing. Void. So addition void. This one is going to be addition return. So this addition return, we have a return value, while this one is a void. So let me come here to change it and change it, then that is okay. Let's return 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2. Let's also put void inside of this, because we don't need any parameter right now. When I get into functions, that is when we start putting parameters, but right now just leave it at void. Now you can see that we have int here we have addition return as the name of the function. Then inside of the function we have return 2 plus 2. Now this codes, this function here and this function here does the same thing. What it does is it adds two numbers together. That is just addition of two numbers. That is just what it is doing, nothing else. But the difference between them is that this doesn't return anything to the function, but this does. So when I run this is going to be printed out without the print statement. You can see I did not put print statement inside of this, but later on I'm going to put it inside of the main. Why did I do that? What? Because my addition is not even correct. This addition return has the value of 4. So this return statement plus this 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. So this return statement returns 4, which is the result of 2 plus 2, and it returns it to this function, the function name. Okay, but this doesn't return anything, it just prints it on the screen without returning it. That is why the void is there. Okay, but this returns an integer, which is why we put int here, because we know that it's going to return an integer. And who is it returning it to? It's returning it into the function name, to the function name. So the function name will have the value, the result of this 2 plus 2. So whenever we call this addition return, is going to have 4 inside of it, this addition return. Then for us to see it, we now print it out. Let's jump into example. Printf. Okay, let me go without printing it out. Addition return. Let me go without printing it out. Okay, let me put, I want to add a space or a new line. I want to add new line to it so that two of them will be separate. I should have done it here, but I don't want, so I'm bringing it down here. Then printf, then okay, to divide these guys into 2. Now let's save this. Let's recompile. Where is this guy? Okay, no, I don't want e, I want void. Okay, so no error. Then you can see it's only returned 4, which is the void type. Let's go back to our v. You can see the one is returned, this first one that has the printf. So anything that has printf will print on the screen. This one that has a return type doesn't have a return f, printf, and you can see it here, it doesn't have a printf. But if I suddenly add a print, oh, what happened? Can't I just code in peace? Okay, let's proceed. I think I'm the one that made the mistake. I wasn't on the insert mode, so that was why the thing happened. Okay, so I'm printing the function right now. I'm trying to echo the function to demonstrate that this holds a value, and the value it holds is this 2 plus 2, which is 4. So inside of this I'll put my percentage sign, then integer, then the function name. Let's save and run this. Let's recompile. No error. Then let's run. Then you can see 4 4. the scope of this lesson is not with this guy. Okay, the scope of this lesson is on the void data type, this guy here, up here. So what I'm actually trying to let you know is that when you have void as your data type, just know that you're not going to type anything like return, because it's not returning anything. Void doesn't return anything. That is just what I want you to get. Void doesn't have a value. Void doesn't return anything in the function. Okay, void is just empty, nothing, no value, nothing. Okay, so but when you have a data type that you use to define your function, then it must have a return type, a return statement. Okay, and this statement will return exactly the same data type as you declared here. So if you have any kind of issues with the void data type, okay, just comment on the comment box. I will get back to you. Thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video if got something from it. Okay, share. There's love in sharing.